from the East Coast. She's with me right now. How's it going? Regina, are you there?
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for being on the show this evening. Truly appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, thank you guys for having me.
So before I even begin, I just want to, let the people know. So what happened was you and I were originally supposed to do like a pre-recorded interview this weekend, and then I play your interview next Thursday. But due to circumstances, um, here we are doing your interview a week early. So here we are. So, but again, I appreciate having you on. So you call yourself the HBIC, and I'm definitely going to get into that as well. But before we do that, how did you get started into becoming a wrestler? How did it all started off for you?
I was actually very fortunate where I was working with a local TV show in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania called the It's Alive Show, and we shared the same television station where we were broadcasting with PWX, and the owner found out that I was a wrestling fan from very young, so he basically reached out to me and said, we have a school, and I said, yeah, I'll come check it out, and 2.5 years later, here I am.
So, what was it like going through the whole training process, learning how to do these moves and going through the bumps and bruises? What was the process like going through training when you got started?
Training was very interesting, very eye-opening. I say a lot that once I kind of got a better insight on what these guys and girls go through every day, it's like rewatching it all over again. It takes a lot of dedication, and I had to learn that the hard way. You really have to treat this like a second job, like a career, or you're just kind of hurting your own development, I should say. So unfortunately, I had to learn that the hard way. I don't think I took it as seriously as I should have when I first started, and then luckily my trainers kind of were like, this is, you have to make a decision. This isn't a hobby. This is a lifestyle, and luckily I kicked it into gear and, just debuted at home a couple months ago. So it was a really good feeling to finally have all that hard work pay off.
That's very honest of you to say that, considering there are people out there who go through something like that, but act like that didn't happen to me. I thought I could have went through it just fine, but you was very open about it, and that shows professionalism on your part, and it shows that things didn't start off the way that you wanted, but you eventually got the hang of it, and you definitely have made a name for yourself in the Pittsburgh area for PWX, and that's a lot of competition in the northeastern part of the United States, obviously, and you definitely have made yourself an impact, literally and figuratively. So, do you remember like the first wrestling match that you ever had when you got started? Who was your opponent, and how did it feel prior to having that match, and how do you feel now that you've been through that first match?
Yeah, it was very nerve-wracking. I had been building up this image, and, my training was a little bit longer than some. I kind of joke now that I'm kind of the runt of the litter with my training class because we have a lot of really, really talented guys at PWX, and especially now the younger guys. I mean, they just excelled through training, and for me, I was kind of a little bit slower, took a little bit longer for me, but I eventually got it. So it was kind of like a bittersweet thing because I was just so ready to be out there, but I wanted to go out and make an impact, like you said. And to finally be out there. I actually faced another trainee who graduated from the school, Laura Lovelace, and it was just an amazing feeling, like I said, to finally get out there, and it was just really fun. You know, she's a great competitor, and she put me through a good match. You know, it was definitely a good first match, but it was just that thing where, you know, I finally got out there, and then it just made me want more and more, made me want to get better, you know, every day. Like I would say, you know, in the trainer's say too, you know, there's always room for improvement. So it's like, you know, if I have my best match, you know, last week, you know, this coming week, you know, I want to have an even better match than my best match. So there's always room for improvement.
That's absolutely awesome. And, you know, to see how far you've come since then, you know, you have, audience like what they see, obviously. You know, they know you as the HBIC, and it definitely become a confidence booster. And speaking of HBIC, for those who never had a chance to see you perform in doing before, or may not have seen your wrestling videos like online on YouTube or whatever, let the people know what makes you the HBIC, what makes you separate from the rest of the competition that's out there.
I pretty much made it clear to the other ladies of PWX, and, you know, eventually we'll make it clear to the rest of the scene that, you know, I'm the honey badger in charge, because, you know, unlike most female competitors, you know, there is a glamorous aspect to this lifestyle. You know, they want to be, you know, very gorgeous, and, you know, there's a lot of attention you get, especially from, you know, male fans, and that just comes part of the lifestyle. Obviously, you know, they want to be athletes and be in top shape, but there is a little bit of almost like a model aspect of it, and that's just totally not what I'm about. You know, I was always told I'm too short and I wasn't glamorous enough, and, you know, I was never going to make it. So I just kind of took what some people will, you know, you always hear that cliche story, you know, of the ugly duckling in high school grows up, you know, to be this gorgeous, you know, basically grows up into the prom queen, but that's not what I was wanting to do. I kind of also made the statement with my last match at PWX, where it was actually a title match. I was basically one win away in a tournament from being the PWX Women's Champion, again, against Laura Lovelace. And I had the match won, but I actually disqualified myself by attacking the ref. And I know a lot of people say, well, that doesn't make any sense, but I wanted to make a statement that I didn't need this glitzy gold belt to prove that I'm the honey badger in charge. You know, you can dominate a scene, and I don't need something material hanging around my waist. So, you know, I kind of wanted to make that statement and say that, you know, I can dominate without, you know, fitting the mold, because that's kind of what my whole thing is.
It's interesting you bring that up, because before we got on the air, I did some YouTube search, and I did see that footage. It says Regina Badger attacked Brittany Force, Maria Manic, and the referee at PWX, and you literally took out everybody, even the referee. You know, and that was just, it's one thing to go after your fellow competitors, but you went at the referee, and it's like, damn. This woman means business. I mean,
yeah, that was actually my debut, and like you said, I definitely wanted to make an impact, and I think delivering, you know, a couple stunners, especially one to our ref Joe McCoy, I think that definitely gave the PWX fans a little not so subtle intro to what was coming to PWX, because, like I said, it's, you know, we have a lot of gorgeous ladies there, but that's not what I'm about.
I just want to know, has the referee even attempt to talk to you since that moment, or has he been really distancing himself from
we
you?
tried. Unfortunately, every time me and Joe seem to get together, it ends up with him getting stunnered. Unfortunately, we actually had a birthday celebration for Joe a couple weeks ago. I actually am I'm available for birthdays now, and Joe was lucky enough to get a stunner for his birthday.
Mm. Yeah.
But yeah, it just seems to always happen where me and Joe, every time we meet up, he just ends up getting stunnered. So he's actually on vacation right now, and I heard rumors of him being nervous at the airport, making sure that I wasn't going to be waiting for him to get off the plane.
Poor referee. Just can't seem to catch a break.
Yeah,
And,
sorry,
yeah.
buddy.
So, for you, and you bring up the glamour aspect to a lot of female competitors, and as I look back on it, that is absolutely true. There's always been a glam appeal to a lot of women wrestlers out there, and yet you got people like yourself that's not that yet. You have an alternative feel to it. You go against the grain, and there's a lot of talented wrestlers that go against the grain. And I guess some female wrestlers get by because of their looks more than their athletic ability or whatever. Um, I guess I don't know. It's just it could be frustrating. It shouldn't be based on the way you look. Obviously you want to be in good shape, good condition, and all. I get that, but it should be more than that. It should be what's inside the heart of the competitor beyond the looks and how much passion that person has and how good she really is inside that square circle. And does that bother you at times when you be at shows and you see certain people get by because of their quote unquote looks?
I mean, I definitely think if you have what it takes to step into the ring, and don't get me wrong, like I said, I don't think with wrestling, you really can't just get by with looks. You have to have, good training, and you have to have the heart to get in there, so don't get me wrong about that. But there is an aspect as far as opportunities, I should say, based on, would somebody, pay $5, $10 to stand next to me versus, someone who, looks like they stepped out of, a Playboy magazine. Probably not. More than likely not. But at the same time, it's that mentality and maybe a little bit of that frustration, that's what kind of drives me in the ring as well, because I'm trying to prove that, I didn't fit the mold. I kind of just took what I have. I have more of a thicker athletic build. I'm tinier, I'm short, I'm 5 foot, and I don't really fit any sort of model-esque, what they're looking for. But at the same time, I still show up, and I still don't let any of that hold me back. And that's kind of where I connected with the honey badger. There's these small, stocky animals, and they really don't look that intimidating. They actually get mistaken for a skunk a lot because of their markings, like their coloring. But these animals are in the Guinness World Book of Records for being the most fearless, most, ferocious animals. I mean, there's a reason they say, honey badgers don't give a shit. It's because they don't. Honey badgers will take on any foe, any size. They've taken out packs of lions. They'll take on elephants. They don't care. So it doesn't matter how big or small you are. I'm not afraid to step to that, and that's kind of where I connected with the the whole honey badger image.
Cool. And I did not know that the honey badgers could consider that dangerous or let alone intimidating at all. So thank you for enlightening me on that. I guess that's the reason why I don't see no maybe you see them in a zoo, and if you do, it's in a very very long cage, and kids should, or not kids, but humans should not approach near the cage, because they may come get you and you don't even know it. If you blink for 1 second, it's a wrap for you. It's a wrap.
I mean, they're very territorial animals, and that was also kind of the point I was bringing to PWX. You know, I was literally raised, you know, in PWX. You know, I started at the academy, you know, and my trainers, you know, my trainers Brandon Kay, Crusher Hansen, Dean Radford, Quinn Magnum, you know, they all worked very, very hard to get me to where I am. And, you know, for these other women who, you know, yes, they're skinnier and they're more tan and, you know, maybe they have more makeup on and, you know, they're very glitzy and glammy. And, you know, they get brought in and they walk around like, you know, it's basically their territory. You know, that's also where, you know, I have a little bit of problem with it. It's like, well, you know, I earned this, so I'm going to protect my territory, you know, while it lasts. And that's also why, even though I made a statement with turning away from the PWX Women's Championship, you know, I also still have that mentality of, you know, I am going to basically be the HVIC of PWX Women's, you know, locker room with or without that title.
Mhm. So for people that wants to see you in person or, you know, looking forward to seeing you in person, why don't you go ahead and promote your upcoming shows where people can check you out?
Yeah, absolutely. PWX has a show on June 25th at the McKeesport WrestlePlex. We are right across from UPMC McKeesport. But if they have any other questions about the card or our school, if anyone in the Pittsburgh area, if you're interested in coming down and training or, you know, in that area, you know, the school is accepting students at this time. You know, you can find all that information at pwxtv.com. We actually do also air our TV shows. We are on Roku under the Indy Wrestling channel.
All right, all you people near the Pittsburgh area, go check out PWX. Support your local indie wrestling companies out there. Show your support. If you can have a dream match, it could be anyone, male, female, indie or pro. Who will be included in your dream match?
Oh, man, that's a tough one, but I knew something like this was going to come up. I would have to say, I mean, I just want to work, you know, anyone willing to come to me. You know, I just want to, you know, really take on any challenge that comes at me, so that's kind of an open statement. But if there was one that I think I'm really looking forward to, if it could happen down the line, I'd really, really like to get in the ring with Miss Jessica Havoc. She was a big inspiration for me, you know, same kind of deal. You know, she's a very hardworking woman, and she's made a very bold name for herself. But I just think the dynamic of, you know, the little honey badger coming up against, you know, someone like the Death Machine, you know, Miss Havoc, I think is a very interesting thing to see.
Interesting choice there. Jessica Havoc, definitely one of the top female wrestlers out there. She definitely represents the type of those that we was talking about earlier, going up against the grain. She's
Mm-hmm.
she's very
Absolutely.
she's she's very intimidating. That's my best way to describe Miss Havoc. She's a female beast, and she
Yeah.
will put a beating to anyone of any size, male, female. She can hold her own, and she's definitely been very successful for all she has done, for all she's accomplished. She's also a former TNA Knockouts champion too. So
Mm-hmm.
she's definitely made a name for herself and continue to do so to this day, even after her stint with TNA. So um, shouts out to Jessica Havoc. She's one of the best, absolutely. For people that wants to keep in touch with you, social media wise, why don't you go ahead, let people know your Twitter, Facebook, or any other social media link people need to know.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find all the links for me and my other fellow wrestlers of PWX at that pwxtv.com, but you can specifically follow me at Regina H. Badger and at Regina Honey Badger on Instagram. And you can also find me on Facebook if you ever have any questions about upcoming bookings or any other questions.
Well, Regina, it was great chatting with you. Thank you so much for your time and being on a week early than expected. And continued success to you. And, again, thank you for your time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You have a great night and have a great weekend.
Thanks. You too.
All right, bye-bye.